Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all having a fabulous day wherever you are. Let's jump right into collectively rewilding. All right, here we are in collectively rewilding, and we don't have a large audience today because our other community has an impromptu kind of an event going on, but that's okay because I wanted to just come and talk to you guys just for a minute. It'll be a real short one, most likely. I have been struggling over the past couple of weeks because my puffy airs would not get here. They were supposed to be here at the latest Wednesday of last week, and they didn't get here until about mid-afternoon yesterday. And it set me back quite a bit, but nothing has pushed me to go back to a full pack of cigarettes a day. And I think we've all probably heard it 50 million times, you'll quit when you're ready. And that really does seem to be the case. I've tried to quit for over 10 years, and I've made some really serious attempts. I've done a lot of half-hearted attempts. I've talked about it and not done anything. I've gotten so far, but never could get further. And my husband and I had a plan. It was really my plan, but he agreed to it. And if we hadn't been able to quit smoking by the time I turned 50, we were going to either rent or take our RV. If we've managed to get an RV, we have a couple of years, a little bit more than a couple of years there. And we were going to drive out into the middle of nowhere, park that RV somewhere hours away from any cigarette stores, and just stay there for an entire week and scream together and cry together and laugh at each other and all of that, and stop smoking for an entire week where we were separated from someplace that we could buy cigarettes. And I think that that was a good plan, but it's interesting and a little bit sad that what really is now happening is my husband got the scary word possibility, right? Cancer. And while nobody, including the doctor, thinks that he really does have it, there are indications that could mean cancer, or are definitely indicators that if he doesn't change his patterns, it will become cancer. He tried to go in and get the test. He had it all planned. He had to quit smoking everything. He couldn't have any cigarettes. He couldn't do any of the puffy airs, the vaping of essential oils, right? It's not like traditional vaping. It's vaporizing, which is really just a play on one word, but it's an evaporator. It is not something like a vape for a cigarette, for nicotine, right? It's quite different, and yet it still does put those essential oils in your lungs. And so he wasn't able to do any of that. He couldn't have his CBD vape. He couldn't do any of the pens that we have for marijuana, nothing. And he made it. He made it a full 24-hour period. And the doctor called to cancel. They had almost all of their staff out. Everybody was sick. There was nobody to take a test. And so I was very impressed with him, very proud of him, amazed by him, so happy that he could be that strong. And he has to get the test again later. So he's so much better. We're really not worried about the cancer possibility, but we will continue to push to get that test rescheduled. He has to do some things for work, and he's going to be managing some things for another plant for a few days. And so he's not going to be available to do that. And so we have to wait until then, and then we'll get it rescheduled. He'll go in and we'll get that verification, we hope, right? As there are no guarantees. However, these are things that my husband's gone through off and on over the years, and we're not terrified. However, it's given us that extra little bump, and we're both doing amazingly well. He used to think that he smoked about a half a pack a day. Turns out he was really smoking about 3/4 of a pack a day. And that shocked him when he really realized that he had been smoking so much more than he had thought. And so now, going from 3/4 of a pack a day, he smokes 5 cigarettes most days. So a huge improvement, 10 less cigarettes a day. That's just amazing. We did finally, as I said, get our puffy airs in yesterday. And so he's got that. He does the nicotine pouches. It's not chewing tobacco, but it's a little pouch that has nicotine in it, and he puts it in his jaw, and those help him as well. And so, yes, it holds true. You will decide when you're ready to quit. And if you reach that point, all I can say is please grab onto it and make use of that moment to move further Don't let it slide by because it won't last forever and you'll be right fully back into that addiction. So if you find that window where you have that strength, and I don't care if you're talking alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, hard street drugs, too much reading like I used to do, too much football like my mother used to do, whatever it is that you're doing, too much soda like Wendy's working on, right? All of these different types of behaviors. If you find a window where you're stronger, exercise those muscles, work at it, get support like what we're doing here in our class, get a network. Try to talk your friends, your family, your partners into doing this with you, whether it's the same addiction or an addiction that they have that's different than yours. Having support is so tremendous. My husband makes very, very good friends wherever he works. That's one of his skill sets as a manager. And the people at his job really love him and support him. And they know he's honest with them. And so when he told them that he got the possible scary word, that cancer word, they immediately started just pestering him, trying to get him not to smoke that cigarette, trying to get him to just wait another 30 minutes. And it's helping him so much. So when he leaves and he goes to work, he doesn't even take his cigarettes with him now. He has his puffy air, he has his pouches, and he goes all day. And he works a minimum of 9-hour days with an hour drive on each end. So that's 11 hours of his day that he is now completely cigarette free. So there are tools out there. I really feel that puffy air for us is a deal changer. It's a game changer. It really is what made this truly accomplishable for us. And it's unfortunate that we need that crutch and that we have to pay that money and use those resources. However, if it's going to get us to quit smoking cigarettes, I am so, so grateful. Definitely check it out. There's also FUM, and those are FUM. It has a double accent mark on the U, double dot accent mark, FUM, and Puffy Air, PUFFIAIR. And both of those products are really, really tremendously valuable if they will help you. The FUM was less than productive for us. We liked the idea. My husband really liked that it was a fidget device, right? It's not a fidget spinner exactly, but there's ways to fidget with it. It's deliberately built into the tool. They don't have the right weight. They don't have the right shape. They don't light up on the end, and there's no vapor. There's no exhalation that you can see. Whereas with the Puffy Air, it is also essential oils. I'm just as positive as I can be that that's what FUM is using for their cores, something very comparable, if not essential oils. Food grade oils, perhaps, right? And so with the Puffy Air, it isn't quite the same shape as a cigarette. It's certainly longer, but it's comparable weight-wise. And it feels almost like a pen, like a writing pen, which is also very familiar to our fingers, as well as lighting up at the end. And then you have that exhalation of essential oil vapor. That is the key for us. The FUMs, I don't think that they would have managed it. I don't think we would be having the success that we've had. I've canceled our subscription with it. I think it's a great additional alternative. And for some, it may work much better than the Puffy Airs. They're both maybe a little bit less expensive than cigarettes, but it is an investment. You do have a monetary investment to try to utilize these tools to move forward in your quitting journey. And so for those of you who have other addictions, not cigarettes, not vaping, those types of tools, whether we consider them crutches or not, if they're healthier than the habit we're leaving behind, I encourage you to find that, whether it's non-alcoholic beer or I was thinking about this for my father. He really drinks a lot of beer. And he's actually been warned that he could have cirrhosis. He's gone through some health scares with it, and he's still very, very much a part of that alcoholic beer beverage world. He used to, when I was being born, when I was a very young toddler and baby, and before that period of his life, he drank excessive amounts of Dr. Pepper, which is just so funny because for those of you who know me, that was one of my big addictions. And I broke that. Oh gosh, it's probably 3 or 4 months now. I have had one Dr. Pepper in that time period. I just ran into another business uptown that had fountain sodas, which was my addiction. Not like the can, not the bottle, certainly not the 2 liter. It had to be fountain Dr. Pepper. And I tried it, and it just fell far, far flat. It was not even worth giving up the success that I'd made. I didn't finish it, gave it to my daughters. We all still drink a little bit of soda. My oldest daughter and I, we were really heavy into the soda, and she has quit with me for the big fountain sodas. And the doctor actually recommended that she try to avoid soda or sugar at all as much as she could. So against my perspective or my opinion, she's using 0 sugar sodas. And I do not like artificial sodas. So we're keeping a close eye on that as well. And for something like reading, right? That was my addiction, my biggest addiction. It was the most painful addiction I've ever quit in my life. Reading books, reading, watching TV, playing video games, something like that. I think that the best crutch, the best habit to replace something like that is getting outside. If there's anything that you like to do outside that is going to engage your mind like reading does, much more than watching TV does, and it'll give you that physical component that the video games do, but it gives you health benefits. And you get vitamin D from the sun if there's sunlight. You're breathing in fresher air than in your stuffy house. You're working with soil perhaps, or if you ever go barefoot and walk on soil. All of these things are not only a new pattern to replace the old bad pattern, but they will have positive benefits, right? So just something to think about. I had started a little bit of a story there, and I had a point, and I think I might have lost it. Just replacing the orange soda with, instead of Dr. Pepper. When my husband and I, we spend a lot of time together while we're smoking cigarettes, right? I'm so busy at work, even though I'm at home, and when he's home, I'm busy doing what I've got to do. And he's so busy with work and in his head about work that one of the big activities that we do together is actually stepping outside and smoking those cigarettes. And so we don't want to just depend on puffy airs forever either, right? We don't want to have to keep spending the money. We don't want to use the resources, all of these things, as well as the fact that while there has not been any serious worrying attributes or health consequences attributed to essential oil use, if you use the same essential oil on the same basic spots, like under your on your wrists, underside, or up the back of your neck, these are common places that you would utilize essential oils. And if you consistently use the same oil day after day on the same spot, it will create tiny tumors that are benign under your skin on that spot. And so when we're using something like puffy air that is essential oil vaping, we don't want to just do that forever either, because it could have health consequences that we're not aware of yet. Anyone not aware of yet. It's a newer product on the market, and we don't know if there are any consequences for it yet, though I'm almost certain it will be less than what cigarettes are. We still eventually want to quit smoking the puffy airs also. When that happens, I've already talked to my husband, and I want us to go out, maybe take little walks with the dog, or just go sit on the porch and talk about whatever he's got going on at work. That's one of our common topics when we're hanging out, or what we're doing in the garden, or what we're going to do going forward, dinner the next day, anything that we might have talked about while smoking our cigarettes, and simply just going outside and being outside together for 4 or 5 minutes, up to 10 minutes, and just still taking that moment for he and I to connect, right? And so when you're looking to stop a habit that you do not find proactive for your future, find something to do that replaces it with a better habit. Even if it's not the perfect habit yet, it's still a step in the right direction, just like these puffy airs are, right? And so I just wanted to join you all and kind of talk to you about what we're doing and how it's helping us. And even though I did have that setback, we didn't get those puffy airs until almost a week late. I didn't have the full variety, and I have it all worked out in my day where I smoke each one. I didn't smoke much on the puffy airs while we were waiting for that package to get here, and yet still I was smoking at least 4 and even more cigarettes less than what I was doing before we started this process at all. And so today we've got them. I started my day with it. I popped that Nicorette gum right when I got out of bed, went outside with the dogs, did the energy vaporizer, puffy air, came back in, got all ready, got dressed, all that. Finally went out and had a cigarette. I've had my second cigarette. Now the next time I go out, I will have the milk thistle vaporizer. And that's good for your liver. And at first I had thought I was just going to give all of those to Jay because he's the one that drinks alcohol. But I have recently learned that your liver treats a lot of things like soda in a very similar fashion. You can get fatty liver and I believe maybe even cirrhosis from just overindulging in sugar, especially those sugary beverages. So I figure my liver could use a little love and tender care as well. So I start with energy, move to milk thistle, then I go to the lung vaporizer, the lung cleanser, which I actually think is the best of the 4 flavors from the 4 different puffy airs. And then I stop at the end of the night with the melatonin diffuser, right? And so even without my crutch, we were still doing better. Jay was still doing better. He was still managing to keep his to about 5 cigarettes a day. And he hadn't even gone through all his puffy airs. He still had one of every flavor. So he's using less of this crutch, and the nicotine patch really does help him. Now, just like with the puffy air, there can be consequences from putting that nicotine in his jawline. So we don't want that to continue forever. However, switching up the negative habit for a different negative habit that is not something he enjoys as much and he's been able to quit before will hopefully help us to eradicate cigarettes, eventually move on from puffy air and this pouch that he's using, as well as the nicotine gum that I'm using, into better patterns. Going outside, working in the garden, exercising, reading a book. I've broken that habit and I almost never read. So if I take 10 or 15 minutes to read, instead of going and smoking a cigarette, that would certainly be an improvement at this point, where it's been around 15 years since I broke my reading addiction, right? And so please come join us. If there's something you want to quit, whatever that something may be, whether you tell us what it is or it's still your private secret, we don't need to know, but we're just definitely here to support you. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and we will be back tomorrow for how-tos, community outreach. Perhaps we'll be working with Miss Candace on community gardens and a veggie bus, or digging into Miss Tammy's problematic tamarisk salt cedar area, which I did read an article today, Miss Tammy, and I have it right here on my phone. This is a good alternative to help you replace the nasty tamarisk, and it's the official plant of 2026. It is called the Vernonia lettermanni iron butterfly, also known as iron butterfly threadleaf ironweed. This is a weedy sounding wildflower that'll attract beautiful dragonflies to your yard. Garden awards matter because they help inform people about which plants to include in their yard. With thousands of plant choices available, narrowing your options with award-winning plants can make purchasing and planting decisions so much easier. The Garden Club of America's Plant of the Year Award is unique because it focuses on little-known native plants selected for ecological benefits and ornamental value. Now let me see if I can quickly find why I thought it was going to be such a good plant for you. Iron butterfly is one of those underrated perennials that'll effortlessly transform patchy garden areas. And it's nice to see it getting the attention it deserves. Taking a closer look at this plant, it's easy to see why it was selected for the 2026 award. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, iron butterfly tolerates both drought and poor soils, producing abundant, bright violet flowers on dense mounds. At 24 to 36 inches tall, it's more compact than other varieties of ironweed. This cultivar has fine foliage that looks lovely everywhere from cottage and rock gardens to native plantings and pollinator flower beds. And this is why it would be so good in your area, Miss Tammy. You'll also find that it can be added to the list of drought-resistant plants that thrive without water once it becomes established. It has a long bloom season, flowering from midsummer to fall, which is why it's an important nectar source for late-season bees and migrating hummingbirds. Like other members of the aster family, the vibrant flowers of iron butterfly are intricate when you look at them up close, and even though they're only about 1 inch in diameter, there are so many that it looks like a mound of blooms. Plants with deep taproots, like iron butterfly, very good for holding that soil in place, right, are used in dry areas and naturalistic plantings and can help with erosion. Planted in full sun to light shade and don't over-fertilize it. In the spring, cut it back so it stays bushy and compact before going into bloom in the summer. Doesn't that sound like an ideal plant for your little area there?
Can I see it?
I'll
Can I
share it
see?
to you. Let me just
Yeah.
go. It's a house.
How is it in regards to like with is it poisonous like for like dogs? Because I know I've been doing some
It didn't
research
mention anything like that, but we can definitely.
and other than hummingbirds and bees, what type of wildlife will it attract? Like snakes, anything like that? Because that's squirrels or anything like that. That's the thing that I worry about is just more rats, pests. Hummingbirds, butterflies. I would love it. It's just there's other wildlife that I don't want to attract. And then in regards to that, like,
Good
can I
luck.
start them? Can I?
That's what I have to say to
My
you about that.
goodness.
Good luck. You have a large property in the desert, and things like snakes, they're going to be there occasionally. You can
Yeah,
plant,
we thought.
you're more likely to be good about planting plants that will deter it.
Yeah.
And certainly not those that would draw it in. We can research it here. I don't know if they actually show, this is the picture here.
And also, in that area where my salt cedars are, would I be able to put it in a pot until that area? Because I know I can't plant anything there until I don't know how long it will take for that soil. Because obviously they're salt cedars, and
If you
when the
want your soil to be able to be anchored in place while you're removing the salt cedars, you have to start planting other things before you remove them.
for sure. But I'm saying like I need to remove them. So like with
If
those
you remove
trees,
them without the anchor plants already there,
gotcha.
your
Okay.
soil's going to go away.
I'm just scared that it's just going to die because it's
It could, but even
saturated
if it
with.
did, okay, even if it did, those roots are still going to help, and it's a
Okay.
perennial, so it might still come back from it, and you could certainly replant after you actually got rid of your salt cedars.
Yeah,
But
and
if
there's
you don't
also.
have good plants established with good root structure in your soil and you remove those trees,
Mhm.
it'll probably, the only places that will stay will be where the creosote is still there to hold it in, and it could even have been enough of a part of it with that creosote bush that you'll start seeing the water washing
Yeah,
away from the creosote bush's roots, possibly. You've
yeah, and
got
I was
to have
also
some
thinking,
other kind of root structure in there in order
right.
to hold it the minute you pull those salt cedars out.
Yeah, I would have to have a professional to do that because they're huge, and
Understood. Understood. And
yeah,
so I'm
for
saying something
sure.
that you can do right now. You
Hmm.
you may be right. It could have problems that parts of it die out. I doubt that all of
Right.
it would die out because
Yeah, and there's also salt resistant plants that I can plant as well. Like they don't really care to be planted in salt. That because I
and
there's
so
actually a couple plants that I looked at when I was
mhm.
doing some research, and there's a few trees that I could plant that are salt resistant, right, Daryl? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so they can live in that type of environment. So
Mhm.
until like you said, I have to have something there or else I'll be like a sunk toad. Like it just sink, for sure.
Yeah.
And
I
everybody's all
mean,
flat and I'm just gonna be like timber me fall.
um, Let's go and look into it really quickly.
And also I probably have like an electric gate because I want that whole like front area, like my whole front yard to be fenced off, you know? So I'm thinking about I don't know, wood fencing. Like I have, you know, the fencing I have here, but you know, if I want to plant, you know, beautiful flowers, I need some type of shade. You get what I'm saying? And that fencing
With these
creates,
here, you don't actually.
okay.
Yeah, it's saying that it likes full sun or just a little bit of shade. And so,
Yeah.
okay, so we're looking at let me get the full name here. Vernonia. Yeah, Vernonia lettermani. Okay. Iron butterfly. Can it be planted in salty soil? Yes. Vernonia lettermani, iron butterfly, is considered salt tolerant and can be planted in salty soil. That was actually my biggest concern when you mentioned that one. It's a very, very viable concern that you have, right? Okay, so that it does.
And how tall do they get? Like I know you said it was like a bush or like a 6 foot tree. Like how tall do they get? Can I put like 5 or 6?
It's smaller. It's I
Okay,
think it
like
said
a bushy.
24 to 30 inches, something like that.
Okay.
Vernonia
Okay.
lettermani iron butterfly attracts pollinators like butterflies, moths, and bees, as well as flowers. Or hummingbirds, excuse me. The flowers are a valuable nectar source, especially for migrating monarchs, and the plant is also resistant to deer. The flowers and stems also provide a habitat for beneficial insects like assassin bugs, robber flies, and spiders. Attracted animals, just insects, and deer avoid it. So it's not going to be drawing in any snakes or anything. You know, I mean, a snake might rest under it. It's not going to deter the snake. And snakes want to be in the shade sometimes, and they want to be in the sun sometimes. You know, they're cold-blooded creatures, so that sun is a very big deal to them, whether it's needed or it just needs to hide from it because it's too hot. And so shade in general can, yes.
How about rabbits? Like I get a lot of rabbits up here. Do they love eating them? I'm just messing
It
around, but yeah,
doesn't really
yeah, I have a
talk
lot
about
of
anything other than it deters deer. I don't think it has a big animal impact. It has a big pollinator
cool
impact.
beans, cool beans.
Yeah. And then you had one other question. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, so can these be placed in a pot until I'm ready? You know, can I buy them right now and have them in a pot and then, you know, take care of them until I plant them in the ground? I'm not sure.
Yes, Vernonia lettermani iron butterfly can be grown in containers it is compact enough to be grown alone or used as a feature in a mixed container planting. Key considerations are providing full sun. See, it likes that full sun. Just a little bit of shade is all it can tolerate. Ensuring well-draining soil, watering more frequently than in the ground, and protecting the plant during winter and colder climates. So, yeah, it'll do everything you want. Though I don't know why you wouldn't want to just put it in the ground because you're really trying to get that dirt established, no matter whether the salt cedars are there or not. So the longer it's in the ground, the more established this perennial will be. Therefore, the more likely it will be to survive the removal of the salt cedars and to provide that stabilization that you're looking for when they are removed.
Yeah, I need like a landscaper to clean my whole area right there. There's just so much because it's windy and just a lot of branches and it's just, you know, not ready for that quite yet. But I get what you're saying. It's just I have to rake. It's just a lot of yard work and stuff to do right now at the current time. But I get what you're saying.
And whether you pick something like this or something completely different that fits the same types of niche, you definitely want to have those roots established. I would recommend a minimum of a year if you want to try to keep them alive and have that root structure to avoid the erosion of that soil.
Yeah, for sure. I just gotta like get on the ball with like getting these trees cut for sure. Like it's just
No, that's what I'm trying to say, baby. If you cut the trees before you have your established roots from your other plants, and those,
well, I need to get an estimate. I need to see how much it would cost me to get them
but what I'm
eliminated.
still saying is it doesn't matter on any of that. If you want to
Yeah.
make sure your soil is stable before they're removed,
Gotcha.
You need to let these plants establish themselves thoroughly.
Yeah,
That will
for sure.
help them to stay alive when the salt cedars are being removed, that tamarisk is being removed,
Hmm.
and it will keep your soil there. If you try
Yeah.
to put them in right after removing the salt cedars and any kind of wind or water comes through, they'll probably not do their job and they'll probably die and get washed away partly, or it's, you need them to be established. If their job is to fill in the void that these salt cedars have been taking to stabilize that soil, you've got to have something to replace them before you remove them,
Yeah.
or that plant won't have enough time to establish itself to do that job.
I'll buy one. I'm just trying to think of an area. Like it's just like salt cedar branches everywhere. So I'm trying to like think of it
It doesn't
where I
really
can put
matter
it.
though, because if you just
Yeah.
throw it in there and
Like
plant
they'd
it,
be
it's
like,
just
what
gonna
is
start.
that purple thing just standing there? It'd be like so awkward because it's desert. So yeah, I get what you're saying. I need to create a little area where like it's not so awkward for the little plant. You know what I'm saying?
Not really,
Because
no, but I'm
yeah,
pretty
because
free.
it's
I don't
just
really like to control everything. I like it to kind of do what it's supposed to do.
well,
So
yeah,
if I
yeah,
were
my
you, I would
area.
just buy one or two of these and go put one on each side of the hill and let them do their
Okay.
thing until you're ready. It doesn't have to be plants don't care if it's clean as long as it's not toxic soils or something.
I get,
They don't care
I'll
about
plant a
any of
couple
that.
and then I'll plant a couple for you, Sabrina, and then I'll show you where I'm
Well,
doing.
you do it how you want to do it. That's really the key.
No, no, I
And
really
I'm
like
just
your
telling you
idea.
like how I would have approached it myself, right? Because I just
So
love to get the plants out
how
there.
far deep do I have to plant these things? Is there like a certain depth?
All right, so let's
I'm
do
just trying to
this.
think of a hole to dig, and in that area, like I said, there's like layers and layers of salt cedar like fallings on the ground. So, it's literally gonna bathe in salt cedar bushes, you know?
Doesn't care.
I know, but I do.
Yeah, but
I know.
if you
I'll be
try
like,
too hard to control nature,
yeah,
you have the problems that we have today as a world, really.
yeah. I'll just decorate that one area, to make it feel like it's special because it is special.
You make it more complicated, but that's you, and so you do you. But just know that don't cut those trees down without something to replace
Oh
them,
no, yeah, yeah. No,
right?
I'm just getting. I just want to get an estimate, because I need to know if I
Yeah,
even
but
can get
that
them.
estimate, if you have the estimate and you want to do it right away and you haven't gotten these plants established,
Right. I won't be able to do it for a while, for sure. Anything like that. So I just,
so you can
yeah.
acquire Vernonia lettermani from nurseries that specialize in native or perennial plants. To plant it, choose a full sun location with average, well-drained soil to prevent the plant from flopping. Dig a hole, place the plant with the root ball level with the ground, backfill with a 50-50 mix of existing soil and compost, water deeply. Once it's established, you really shouldn't have to water it very much at all.
I
Pretty
love
easy.
that part. I love that part.
Yeah, because it's not on your back porch where you have fun watering those plants because they're right there, right? But this doesn't have a sprinkler system. It's separated from your porch. So the less you have to be worrying about getting water onto that area, the better off you are, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, very good. Let's just jump back in here really quick. Tomorrow, we will be back with you all, whether we are dealing with Miss Tammy's Salt Cedars, Candace's Community Gardens and Veggie Bus, or my own here trying to communicate with these local companies as well as the parent company of my electrical company to get them saving those chips, those wood chips, and dropping them off in their customers' area, right? Getchipdrop.com. So one way or the other, we'll be looking into one of those topics tomorrow, and that will be 1:45 p.m. Pacific, 2:45 p.m. Mountain, 3:45 p.m. Central, and 4:45 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you all there, and I hope, and just as we're shutting down, you guys all join. That was to be expected, though. Misty doesn't know our schedule over here, so she didn't realize that she was putting her event at the same time of our event. And I didn't think about it either because it's not a normal event. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's very fun to listen to all of Miss Charity's successes, I am sure. And time to say hello and goodbye. Please feel free to unmute your mics, everyone, and say goodnight.
Hello,
Hello
good
and
night.
goodbye.
Bye, guys. I guess it's not good night yet. It's good afternoon. Adios, perhaps, or au revoir being more appropriate. And thank you all. Thank you, Bendy. with your quick in there already chats. I'm not sure how suddenly you already have 15 chats. I must have missed when you guys actually came in and you were all going away there in the chat. But so good to see you all, and have a wonderful week. See you tomorrow.